I think that there's a culture of mystery with the military community within the civilian world. And some people might say that, oh, the civilians don't understand what it's like to be in the military. Um, I was thinking over when you said you were going to ask something similar to this question. I was really thinking over how would I respond, and actually, I spent some time thinking. And the best thing I could say is how I respond is in a spirit of inclusion and diversity, really celebrating that it's not really a barrier, but actually a cultural difference, and or a communal difference. And I think that seeing it in that light rather than, hey, there's this wall that separates me from the rest of the world, can be very isolating, but rather seeing it as a cultural or communal difference that I, again, that I have a chance to celebrate and to share with folks who don't know, and understand that there's going to be some faux pas on both sides, and we have to understand what does it mean to celebrate those differences. And so, you know, treat, teach, and learn from others the same, uh, as you would from folks in your community. So, you're treating them. You're saying like, hey, this is where I'm coming from. It's different. We have different. We have different. We have different humor. We even have a different way of viewing things. Our humor is very differently, very very dark. At least mine is. Um, but really looking at it as uh, learning more about their culture and sharing your culture and having that communication where you can share funny stories of when you were in, uh, you know, reflect and celebrate that, and understand that sometimes someone's going to mess up and someone's going to offend you, and just extend them that grace. And again, not treat it as a barrier where you feel isolated and that you can't communicate, and you can't interact with them, to really being, hey, I'm from a different culture. You're from a different culture. Teach me about your culture. I will teach you about mine. And I do that all the time. In Amazon, it's amazing. I so thoroughly enjoy working with the cast of characters that I work with, from all over the world, from all different experiences and all different walks of life. That when I hop on a call, probably one of the first things I say is, hey, I don't know how you pronounce your name. Can you tell me how you pronounce your name? And they're like, hey, it's, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like, well, where are you from? Like, what is the lineage of that name? And I start off the calls that way rather than it being like, okay, misenunciate or completely butcher their name. And again, be okay to be okay to fail and say like, hey, I'm probably going to mispronounce your name. I'm sorry. But I always tell them this is self-deprecating humor, is that, hey, I come from a part of the country where everybody was Bill, Sue, and Sally. So you're gonna have please extend me grace as I try to learn your new name. But I think it's so cool I get to meet somebody from this part of the world, and seeing that as a an area of celebration really broke down that challenge and say like, hey, you're not supposed to ask those questions. That's not appropriate. Like that's for me and my brothers, sisters, and servicemen in arms. And that could be offensive. Or can I just have a teaching moment? I don't know how to communicate here, or I don't know how to, what do you call yourself? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the culture I'm in. And being able to celebrate that and to learn from that, and have that as a two-way door communication. So being able to go back and forth and have that bi-directional communication is important.